Welcome to ChampionsHeart. You Can't Play Boxing, featuring boxing addict Johnny Faraće and friends from superfans to superstars. Let's roll.
Today on ChampionsHeart, You Can't Play Boxing, I have with me boxing lifer, Hall of Fame publicist, Mr. Marc ABRAMS. How you doing, Marc?
What up, Johnny? How you doing down in the old FLA?
Man, we're surviving here, all locked down and trying to keep busy like everyone else is, and just trying to get through, waiting for them to open the doors.
You and me both.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on, by the way. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. So you're a champ, man. I want to, besides boxing and all the stuff, you've dedicated much of your life to the sport of boxing. So I definitely am grateful for
20 years, 19, 20 years, something like that.
That's awesome. So I kind of want to go through, you've interviewed, you've covered so many champions in this sport, and you've covered so many people that had to go through a lot to get where they're at. I want to cover you right now.
Well, thank you.
You deserve that. You've went through hell, let's call it, the last year plus.
Yeah, about 14 months. I've had 4 surgeries, 3 major stomach surgeries, a kidney surgery, and hopefully, I had my last surgery on March 10th. Hopefully that's it, and I'm, past this mess. And, I'm still have a little, a couple things, odds and ends type of, I guess, after the fact stuff still going on, but nothing compared to what I was going through, before and actually during the last 14 months.
Right. Well, man, you're on the right side of this, and that's awesome because I've definitely felt for you as you've been going through this. I know that you've endured a lot, and I'm really happy that you're where you're at now.
Thank you.
To kind of look forward, as we all are. And, right after you got through this last surgery, now you're held back because there's no boxing.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my doctor, and he was asking me, how, I'm doing. I said, I'm doing fine, but I haven't been out. I haven't been out in the field, so to speak, to kind of, to test out how I'm going to be feeling going forward. But, I'm relaxing at home with my wife, and, we're just doing what most people are doing, finding some good food, some good TV to watch. And, I'm doing some work, keeping in touch with all the people that I'm working with, and doing some interviews. I'm developing a couple other podcasts with some other sports. And I have a friend of mine who played in the NFL. We're going to do some football stuff. I have another friend of mine who's one of the major sports handicappers in the country. We're developing another show. So we're trying to stay busy. Unfortunately, there's no sports right now to kind of handicap. So
Right.
The UFC came back the other night, which was good.
What was that?
The UFC came back the other night, which was good.
I'm boxing only, so yeah, no, I know, I get it. But yeah, it was good. I was glad that they were able to come back. That's kind of segues into, obviously, the first topic here. When and how will boxing come back? Obviously, it's going to. I know that I think Top Rank is possibly talking about something as early as June. The Golden Boy as early as July. Right?
July, new Matchroom. Most of the stuff, at first is going to be, in my opinion, will be promoters with television dates, because
has to be
the television can supplement, a lot of the costs, if not all the costs, of putting on a show right now. I know, there are a lot of groups out there that are trying to figure a way that, that don't get the normal TV dates to try to commandeer their way back into the business. But I think it's like you said, Top Rank, who's got the ESPN deal, PBC, who's on with Fox and Showtime, and Matchroom has DAZN. I think we're going to see a bunch of them coming out early, like you said, June, July, and last weekend, like I said, I just mentioned the UFC. I know you're not really a huge fan of it, but they hopefully set a blueprint on how to run some of these shows with the testing and whatnot. Unfortunately, one fighter did test positive. I don't think he got it though from being around the fighters of the UFC, but
could have brought it in asymptomatically.
Yeah, and he very easily could have spread it to other fighters on the card. So, but like I said, I think hopefully they put up some kind of blueprint where it's tweaked and, to make it even better.
Right. Well, it's definitely going to have a blueprint because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. I don't follow a lot of MMA. My personal take on the show the other night, I'm glad he had it. But for me, for Dana White, for them to make it a $69 pay-per-view.
Hey, well, not only did I buy it, approximately
everybody did. I get it, but
750,000 other people did. They did a monster number, considering there are two fighters in Ferguson and Gaethje, who are known, to the UFC fans very well. But they weren't McGregor's, they weren't the John Joneses. Some of the more mainstream names, and to do a number like that, they must be thrilled. Of the business they did on Saturday night.
Yeah, I guess my point was more, everyone right now is in a kind of time of need, and everyone's kind of bonding together, big group hug thing going on right now. It's not time to really kind of pick someone's pocket and try to get $70 for them to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but
I
people
too. I mean,
but here's the other way. There's another way you got to look at it, and you've dipped your toe into the promoting business yourself. You got to make money.
I get it.
You got to bring back your business, and that's their business. So.
I get it. And man, we're on our second show. We would have definitely a pay-per-view. But if it was my 250th show, I'm just saying, for me, I would have did a little bit to give back to the fans. That's all. But all good. I'm glad that
they have a show. I know we're taping this on Wednesday. There's another show on ESPN Plus tonight. Another one, I think it's on ESPN Plus on Saturday. So people will pay the $4.99 a month. They'll get some content.
I'm glad that they are, and I do give Dana White and I do give the UFC props for rolling it out. And setting that blueprint, and hopefully these guys are able to, we're able to get back at it. And what else I think is going to happen is that. These fighters, they're not going to roll out the top-tier fighters right away either. Nobody's been sparring. Nobody's been training really like they have. So I think that you're going to get a lot of prospects. You're going to kind of get your eyes on a lot of these fighters that you may not have seen before.
Well, from what I read the other day, Bob Arum said, no, are we going to get the mega fights? No, but we're going to get world title fights on these early top-ranked shows. He said guys like Shakur Stevenson and Jamel Herring and some of the other, I think he used the quote, let me paraphrase it, guys that have been in main events and co-features on the ESPN platform over the last 2 years, they're going to be fighting on these ESPN shows. So we're going to get, some real fights early.
Good. I'm excited for that. Everybody's going to be real excited for that. I mean, it's been, we're going on our second month here. It's kind of crazy. Definitely a crazy time. All right, Mike Tyson. What do you think about Mike Tyson?
I mean, I don't know if it's part that we've been inside for 2 months and nothing to do. He looked great in those couple videos that he's put out there, but let's circle back to when his last couple fights, he looked pretty pedestrian in those fights. And he's only, that was what, 14 years ago or something like that, 15 years ago? I mean, you try and tell me you think athletically he's improved in the last 15 years at 53 years old. Hey, if he wants to do some exhibition bouts, I'm all for it.
Yes.
People who want to get him back in the ring in legitimate, 8, 10, 12-round fights against real fighters, I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see that either. I think he's mounting an amazing career, and we don't need him to cap it off with something like that at all. Or get, you can't play boxing.
And the funny thing is, if he did a 4-round exhibition with Evander Holyfield, that would sell. It would sell.
Yeah, that would sell. So, what do you take of Andy Ruiz joining Team Canelo and Eddie Reynoso over there?
Well, obviously, Eddie Reynoso has done wonders with Canelo. Has definitely established himself as a top-tier trainer. And the couple fights that Ryan Garcia has been with Eddie Reynoso, I think he's improved on what he's doing. So yes, I mean the key thing with Ruiz has always been just motivation and desire to fight and get in shape. And if he can do that, if Eddie Reynoso can keep him on the straight and narrow that way, then again, he proved that when motivated, he's a serious player in the heavyweight division. So let's see. I believe he'll be back in big fights, maybe even immediately. You know, there's a lot of good fighters out there. You know, for him to fight guys like Dillian White or other type contenders, especially on the PBC side where he resides now. So yeah, he definitely, if the Reynosos can keep him on the straight and narrow, he's a serious player in the heavyweight division.
Excellent, dude. How do you see now? I mean, I think, you know, obviously as COVID kind of stalled the progression of, you know, these fights being made or whatever, how do you think now, you know, you think these guys are going to come back taking tune-up fights? Or do you think they're going to come back with the matchups?
It depends. I mean, like I said, Bob ABRAMS is going to put world title fights on immediately.
Right.
And obviously, I mean, I don't know, working with the sanctioning buys and mandatories or whatever.
I was saying more so like, you know, we're wanting to see Joshua and Tyson Fury. Now, is that going to be delayed?
I think a fight like that at first is impossible to happen. Mm-hmm. But they're talking to supposedly they're talking to people in the Middle East, and then, you know, you can't rule out two things: the Wilder mandated rematch and Kubrat Pulev, his mandated fight with Joshua. And I read this morning that a very generous bid may have come in from Croatia to host the Pulev Joshua fight. So,
oh wow!
So
interesting. I love the heavyweight division right now.
Yeah, I mean it's good, and we just talked about Ruiz, and if he can stay, and you know, there's other guys, Dillian White, whatever. Yes. So.
There's even second-tier guys. The Afbe Jagbe, I just messed his name all up. That guy's a beast. There's a
F.A. Jagba. Robert Haney has just got a nice win over Adam Kanaki.
Wow.
Before the shutdown and everything. So, yeah, there's definitely some guys out there, and I'm sure off the top of my head I probably missed one or two. But there's definitely some guys out there that are going to make some noise and, you know, be knocking on Fury or Joshua's door, at least to give them a viable option and a viable competition.
Yeah, and there's a guy out there named Deontay Wilder, too.
Well, I mentioned he goes without saying, but yeah.
Of course. So you did mention now kind of going back to the team.
Okay. By the way, how can I forget him? His name's on my head.
Yeah, right. Wow, what a fight that was. Wow, what a fight that was. We talked about Reynoso. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia. You think he's the real deal?
He's showing it. He's showing in the last couple of fights that he's more than just what did I forgot who called him an Instagram model. He's more than just a social media darling. He definitely he's looked good. Everyone was looking forward to his step-up fight with Linares. I don't know if that's going to happen right away or not, but that's a fight I know Golden Boy has a big desire.
They were teasing that for as early as July.
Yeah, well, again, without with the new world we're in right now, I don't know if that's going to be viable for the first fight. Maybe maybe. And plus, Linares, I just read he lives in Japan a lot of the year, so he's in Japan now. So even get him to America, I don't think is an option at this point either. So
right. Linares a bit out of his prime, I think, slightly compared to where Garcia is, just slightly though. How do you see that fight shaking out?
I mean, I like the younger guy, but I think it's that type of fight that is going to make Garcia grow, and it will be so beneficial for him for fights down the line, a fight with Linares. I mean, Linares has always had a little bit of a suspect chin, so if he can knock him out, you know, blow him out there, I mean, he becomes, you know, a real serious player in the lightweight division.
Let's speak about that division because it's filled with beasts. It really is. You know, you got Lomachenko, Lopez. I mean, everybody's talking about that fight. We've been, you know, I've been following Teofimo since he was 8 years old, we know, and you know, crazy to see where he's made it right now. Is that fight a little premature for him?
I don't think it's premature for him. I'm one of these people that, he fought a guy like Coleman, knocked him out in the second round. It was second round, I think it was.
Yeah, second round.
Knocked
him down twice with one punch.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a type of guy that any contender, I don't care if he's only had 14 fights or 44 fights, you're fighting a guy like Comey and knocking him out. I mean, he's a legitimate top 3, top 4, top 5 lightweight out there. You knock him out like that. I mean, what else is there to do? You can only go forward, and Lomachenko is the guy. And it's a real interesting fight when it happens. I know it was supposed to happen in about 2 weeks, but obviously that's not happening.
Right.
So it's
what's your call on that one?
Well, I'm a little biased, so I'm going to lean towards Lopez. So,
okay.
You know, I mean, but I actually think he does have a legitimate shot in the fight. I mean, it's going to be one of those fights where he only needs to land one, and as long as he doesn't get discouraged by Lomachenko maybe winning a couple rounds or whatnot, Lopez always in the fight, and I think he would do well and maybe start breaking Lomachenko down and maybe getting him out of there late.
Right. Well, let's jump up a couple divisions to the welterweight, the famed division of the welterweight division, which has so many stars that never align. Let's say, you know, what's going on there? What do you think?
Obviously the fight to make is Crawford and Spence, and you know, they say they've been talking to each other on the phone during this time off and trying to make things happen. And, you know, let's hope it does happen. Obviously, they're the Top Rank and PBC factions have just worked together on this fight here with Wilder and Fury. And supposedly both sides have said what a pleasure it was in terms of like doing the business angle, the business aspects of everything. So, I mean, I think if the powers that be want it to happen, it's going to happen.
That would, in my opinion, be the biggest fight in boxing, primetime fight that I could think of facing two fighters in their prime at the right time.
Well, Joshua and Fury probably would be a little bit bigger, but that's you know, if you want to call that 1A or a close second, that's
right.
You wouldn't be wrong if you want to categorize Spence and Crawford, and that's a fight. Don't ask me for a prediction. I really would have to. I haven't thought about it. I would really have to like rack my brain and really sit down, and because I think it's a fascinating fight.
It's real fascinating fight. Fun to watch. It may even be a little overly technical to watch at times.
Could be a front. Yeah. But Crawford, as you've seen, at some point he's got a nastiness to him, and so at some point during the fight that would come out, and Spence's speed, and you know, and another wild card. We got to see what Spence looks like following the car
accident. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, him going through about 4 tough fights.
Yeah, so I mean, you asked about tuna fights. Maybe a guy like Spence is going to need a quote lesser fight before he would take a Crawford fight.
I would pray to God he takes a lesser fight before that, at least once, being through what he has been through. I mean, that's good. Let's drop down a division. Can anybody in the junior welterweight division mess with Josh Taylor? You think Jose Ramirez? I mean, what's your thought on that division?
Right now, Taylor looks to be the cream of the crop there. Ramirez is a good fighter. At some point, I believe they will meet because Taylor just inked a deal with Top Rank. And with Ramirez, he still has to get past his mandatory Invictor Postal, which is a fight that is going to happen in China. Then the outbreak happened. They rescheduled it for California. Obviously, everything got shut down. So that's a fight that I think, depending on, I don't know where Postal's at, because I know he trains a lot in Los Angeles. I don't know if he's been in the country. That's a fight that will probably be one of the first fights out of the gate. You know, if Postal is still here and not a problem logistically making that fight in terms of where, you know, Postal's residing these days.
Right. Well, speaking of where people are residing and people that kind of seem to travel a bit, like the Garcias, jumping weight division, the Canelos and that, where does Canelo belong? What division? Well,
I think right now his best division is 168. I mean, I think he went up to 175 because he saw that Kovalev still viable, but a little bit on the other side of the mountain.
Yep.
And 168. I mean, you know, he had the fight with Saunders lined up.
Right.
And then I think the rematch or the third fight with Golovkin was going to happen. I think I believe at 168 because Canelo would have dictated in my opinion, Canelo, who's the big draw, and he likes to dictate the parameters of a fight. Him being fighting at 175, and then again a couple fights at 168. If he would have beat Saunders, and he already beat the kid in New York a couple years ago.
Jacobs.
No, not Jacobs. Oh God, it's killing me now. I was at the fight. I'll get to his name in a second.
Yeah, but for 168. So who would he fight? I mean, there's a few champions in that. You got Callum Smith, Caleb Plant. I mean, Caleb Plant, I think his boxing skills, I mean, I don't know. I think that could be a creative fight. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think the fight to make on that side of the ledge is definitely Benavidez and Caleb Plant. That's a tremendous fight. I mean, that's a real fight. By the way, Rocky Fielding. I can't believe his name.
Right. Right. Well.
But no, that's an awesome fight because you got two great styles. Benavidez that come forward animal. I mean, he just likes he comes forward with a lot of pressure. Plant is a terrific boxer who can mix it up when he needs to. So that's a fight that you talk. I mean, we talk about. You know, I'm not about to call this Spence and Crawford, but that's definitely one of those mouth-watering fights as well. Yeah. If you want to put 5 to 7 fights that you really want to see in certain divisions, Plant and Benavidez is definitely one of those type of fights. There's two young guys, definitely in their prime. In fact, Benavidez is only about 22 years old, so that's definitely a mouth-watering fight as well.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly right. And it definitely is. I'm going to drop down a few divisions down there to junior lightweight. I know the promotional company in Mexico is slipping my mind, but they're talking about having Berchelt fight as early as maybe June.
Well, Berchelt hasn't, they have an alliance or some kind of a relationship with Top Rank. So Top Rank, they're looking to do Berchelt and Oscar Valdez. Is that the fight that they're looking to do?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think Valdez, who's been hit a few times, gets hit, from time to time. That'd be a real rough fight for him. But look for that fight to possibly happen, in the near future.
Right on. What do you think about Charlo wanting to fight? Was he calling out Benavidez? What was going on there? What happened there?
Which Charlo are we talking about?
I think Mel was talking about
Jamal at 160, he, for whatever reason, he can't get the Canelos. I know Eddie Hearn has offered, if you believe Eddie Hearn, has offered him Demetrius Andrade like 10 different times. And for whatever reason, that fight hasn't happened. So I don't know if he's at 160. Does he move up to 168 to fight a Plant or a Benavidez or one of those guys on the PBC end of it? I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, there you have it. All right, my man. I kind of swept through the divisions there. Got up to speed on kind of what, once they open the doors, what we could expect, hopefully sooner than later. That's for sure, my man. So are you watching The Last Dance? I'm sure you are.
Yeah. I watched every episode. I'm a big basketball. In fact, my first love is like basketball and football. So I was a huge.
Don't tell boxing.
No, what's it? What was I going to say? I mean, I knew a lot of the stuff going on, but not to like the degree. I didn't know the thing about Rodman wanting to just take a vacation in the middle of the season and a couple of things like that. I knew about the other night, the Steve Kerr fight. In fact, I think there's some other things where Jordan may have thrown a ball, Will Purdue's head or something like that. I mean, Jordan has been known, especially in practice, to really ride his teammates and whatnot. And it's been terrific. And I just read a couple of weeks ago that the late Kobe Bryant had a documentary team follow him during his last year. So.
Oh, wow.
Who knows? In about 20 years, we may be seeing something like that.
Hopefully sooner than that.
This took about 20 years to make. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully sooner than that for sure. Carol Baskin, did she kill him?
Did Carol Baskin kill? It's weird that the guy has never been found before. He hasn't been found.
It's kind of odd, right?
Yeah, he had a whole bunch of money and just, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything slanderous.
Right? No, it's all speculation.
But you know what? I mean, Joe Exotic may have a case there.
Yeah, you never know. Right on. So, all right, let everybody know. I know you're talking about you've been doing a lot of podcasts, those things. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know all the different podcasts you're working on? Of course, 15rounds.com. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, 15rounds.com. I'm on Twitter. I think it's Marc.ABRAMS2, I think. At M. Abrams Boxing, Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram. I've just been interviewing a lot of fighters. In fact, I just printed out a list. I have about 300 fighters and managers, promoters I'm looking to talk to over the next X amount of days and months ahead. And once the fights start happening, I'm going to, maybe start doing some other things. I've got some other things that I've been working on, which will be great for the fans out there.
Right. We're going to get you on for Bad Promotions as our announcer too. Once we get rolling too, we're actually looking.
I look forward to that. In fact, like I said, I couldn't wait. You had the May 20th. May
20th, yeah.
That probably would have been my return after my surgery. I was very excited about there. Plus, anything to go to Florida. So
right. It would have been like your Michael Jordan after the 18-month return, except
exactly.
You didn't go play baseball.
Exactly. So yeah, I was, I'm just looking forward to just everything and you guys starting back up, and there's obviously some things that I'm doing that could incorporate into my podcast that will help you guys with the promotion, stuff like that. So, I'm just like you, I'm just waiting for everything to really open back up. I know here in Philadelphia there's a couple things open, but nothing where I've been inside the whole time.
Right, everybody's still staying home. The doors are open. Everybody's not flocking out to the street.
Do you have your own pool down there or no? I don't know.
We have a pool, and they just opened it like this week, so we're able to. They haven't put out the pool furniture, so we're able to. I don't have my own pool out back in the backyard, but we have a community pool. So
you supposed to go swimming with a mask on? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not hopping in the pool though.
I actually read. I actually read where when you're in a pool, I think the chances are less. But don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I don't want a whole bunch of people watching this thing go swimming and getting sick and coming from my head. So,
there you go. Well, I also wanted to say, obviously, congratulations. I know you have a wedding anniversary coming up, maybe or something like that. It's been a couple of years now.
Wedding anniversary, not till December.
Oh, is it December? Okay, I was off there, but you're newly married.
You scared me for a minute.
We're both newlyweds in a couple of years, so congratulations still on that.
What are you? You're like 2 or something. I'm at 3
years next. Yeah, 2 years this month.
There you go. So you're the one who got the wedding. So let me ask you this: are you allowed to see me as an interviewer? I can't stop asking questions.
Right? No, please.
So because you're like stuck inside, are you kind of like off the hook about getting a gift, or?
Oh, for no, I already got her a gift.
Okay. Yeah. You're smarter man than me.
You know what? I'm off the hook for having to take her out to an expensive dinner. That's
there you
go.
Grill
some steaks, and I'm going to do it all right here.
There you go. Well, just do me a favor. Edit this part out for when she has to watch this. So.
You got it.
Yeah. I know you're good at. I know you're good. Yeah, I know you're good at the electronic stuff. So.
Yeah, man, we're gonna get that for sure, man. Well, I appreciate you coming aboard.
I appreciate the time. It's been fun.
All right, man. Always. All right, we're gonna catch up again soon. Okay.
Thanks, Johnny. I'll see you soon.